This empty chair represents the addict who died today, not knowing recovery was possible.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Empty Chair, Exposing Addiction. Hopefully, I think this is like our 15th, 16th episode. Hopefully you've been following along. But if you're just new to us and you want to catch up, you can go to YouTube, search The Empty Chair Show. Or what I'd like to see you do is you could search Facebook, The Empty Chair, and that'll show you how to get to the show, the support group, and a lot of things Colleen and I have been doing to kind of help you in your education as far as addiction and recovery. As you know, we try to do various types of guests, professionals, recovery, family, so forth. And in keeping with that, last couple of shows we had were kind of professionals, so we're going to go back a little bit more to reality, and Colleen will introduce you to a special guest star.
Hi, I'm Colleen. I'm an addict in recovery, and I love doing this show because it helps people, so it helps me. And I think raising the awareness about the disease of addiction, so the stigma attached to it, that we're bad people, is kind of like smashed, because we're not bad people, we're sick people, and we get a little bit better every day. And we have done a lot of different shows, people that work in treatment and law enforcement and the courts and facilities and everything. But like some of my favorite shows are when we have, fellow addicts on the show, and most of them, all of them are like my friends, my family. And Liz is one of those people, and I'm so happy that she agreed to do this, because like I said, it helps people, so it helps us. So I'm going to introduce Liz, and I just want to ask you, I guess, the first question. Just so people can have some background on you, is you remember when you first started using, what led you to that, or your childhood, just kind of a background about you.
Okay, well, I'm Liz, and I'm a recovering addict. Thank you for having me on, guys. Anything I can do that helps, the next addict that's out there trying to get what I have today. Started using at a very young age. I was about 12 years old the first time I picked up. I grew up in a family of dysfunction, and my mother's an addict as well. She's also recovering now. I grew up with lies and behind this big facade of the white picket fence, and I never fit in anywhere. I always felt different on the inside, and using for me was a feelings. I wanted to get outside of my feelings. I didn't want to feel the way of the inadequacy and the darkness that I felt. And I did sports, and I tried to excel in school, and I tried all these different things to fit in, and never could find my niche. I was never good enough. I had this very insecurity about myself. So I got high the first time when I was 12, and I loved it. And I'm not gonna lie, it was great. It took away that fear, that took away that weighing down that I had on me. And it was just an amazing feeling. And I thought I found the cure to all of my problems.
When you say you got high, what was your first experience with, what was it, marijuana?
Marijuana,
okay.
The first time, yes.
It usually is, okay.
Yeah, I tried marijuana. Actually, I got dared to have a cigarette, and that was technically my first drug. But it was a week after that, and I didn't even know what it was. Somebody had to put it in my face and was like, this is what it is. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know how to get high, so teach me. And they taught me, and
So a combination of insecurities and peer pressure kind of smashed into one, not wanting to, feel those feelings, and that led to that.
And I didn't fit in, but with these kids I fit in. They found my
sounds familiar.
It does sound familiar. Just telling my story.
Right? Maybe a little bit. I was looking for love in all the wrong places, and that's really what I was doing. I just needed to be needed. I wanted to fit in. And from weed, it went to pills and alcohol, and it slowly progressed. And I first got arrested when I was 14. And
14?
14. I was a freshman in high school.
And you didn't exactly slowly progress, did you?
No,
That's one of the things you did rather quickly.
They say it's a gateway drug for a reason, and it opened all these doors to these new possibilities and these new ventures, and the pain got greater, and I come from abuse, and I didn't want to deal with that, and I felt shame and guilt. So one drug led to another, and it really works just like that. And you never think, when you're out there using and you're just smoking weed, you never think that that's gonna be you. I never thought that would be my story.
I'm glad you said that.
And It was, and I got arrested at 14 in high school in front of thousands of people, and
Wow.
that was my story. And I was a Class A felon at 14, and I was like, yay, you know, it wasn't something.
Did you started to notice then that maybe it was a problem, or just that you were having a bad day?
You know, I thought it could have been problematic, and I knew of, like, you know, 12-step programs to go to and how to reach out for help because of my mother, but I wasn't as bad. You know, I wasn't sticking a needle in my arm. I wasn't a junkie. I was 14. You don't know. Like, if you had my pain, you'd get high too. That's how I thought. Like, those are the lies my disease kept telling me over and over again. And it just progressed from there. And I did have a little bit of a taste of recovery at one point because the state of New Hampshire decided in my best interest to be removed from my life, and they took me away. I went to jail.
Now, this is, you were how old at this time?
14.
14 when you were removed and went to New Hampshire. Okay.
I was removed. I was 15, my first like institution. So I went to YDC. I went to different youth programs where they stick troubled kids that they didn't know how to handle in these programs, and I kept failing on probation. I did all that. That wasn't part of my story, you know, and I couldn't get it, and I didn't know, I didn't understand, and I was so young, and I kept blaming other people and places and things. I never took responsibility for like what I was doing, and I was very ignorant to the fact of like addiction and like the disease and how it works, and it couldn't happen to me, you know. And I got clean. I went to rehab when I was 16. I stayed there for 6 months, and previous to that 6 months, I did another 6 months at a different program, but I didn't stay clean there. I kept getting high and going home on weekend passes, drinking and doing what I wanted to, and then I'd come back on Sunday, I'd clean up on Sunday and come back Sunday night, and I'd be okay. And that's how I manipulated the system for so long. I did that for so long, and I got clean in 2006. I got released from the rehab in 2007, and I was scared, and I didn't know what to do. So I went to a 12-step program, and for a while I stayed clean, and I got up to 22 months clean. And I say it like that because recovery is very different from being clean. You
Definitely.
can be abstinent from drugs, but not recovering. Because I didn't want to do the work, and I really didn't believe that like I needed the work. I just didn't need the drugs.
In those 22 months, did you do, because I know you work your recovery now because I see it, you're a big part of my recovery.
Right.
Did you have like a sponsor and step work and meetings and stuff? Or?
Oh yeah, well I had a sponsor by name. I didn't
Right,
call
right.
the sponsor, I didn't, what step, I mean, 1, 2, 3, I can, he can, I think I'll let him. Oh, I'm done, like that's how I
So
live.
you probably broke a record for going through the steps too.
I did, I made amends, I'm sorry I did this, like I didn't do anything. Like, I didn't do it the way it was laid out, and I didn't take
Right.
suggestions, and I got into a relationship at 9 months clean and didn't change anything. I took me and I removed the substance, but I didn't change the inside stuff. Like I have an inside journey. Recovery for me today is like surgery for my soul. Like I have to fix my soul because like I gave it away. And I eventually got high again because I thought I was cured. I thought it was a phase. I didn't think it was like anything, you know? And I got high again, and I spent 4 years trying to get clean and like trying to come back. And in those 4 years, I gave away a career. I gave away an education that like the state of Massachusetts gave me a free education. I was like, I don't need it. You know, I don't want it. Drugs were more important. Like getting high was more important. And my bottom 14 months ago, it was terrible. I mean, I ended up homeless. I chose to be homeless. These were the rules. Don't get high in my house or get out. And I was like, oh, you're kicking me out? But it wasn't the fact. It was my father trying to save my life, you know. That relationship.
Sounds
fathers
familiar
will
too.
do that, huh?
That sounds familiar too.
Yeah, you know, here's an ultimatum. I'm defiant by nature. That's what I go against all odds. That's what I want to do, you know, and it was horrible. So I left my dad's house. You know, that relationship ended brutally. Like, he's like, you changed. I don't know who you are. I'm like, I'm getting high. This is where I've always been. He's like, I don't even know who you were because he met me when I was clean, and he didn't understand. But like today, I understand that he watched the demon just like take over me because like my disease is like this demon in my mind that just like takes over and changes everything about me, and everything I love and I care about goes out the window because getting high was more important than anything.
And when you picked up after the 22 months,
Yeah.
Because you know, like the disease is progressive, incurable, and fatal. Like even if we put the drugs down, the
Oh, yeah.
disease keeps progressing. That's why we have to work on ourselves more and
Right.
more every day. When you picked up this time, like I'm assuming it was like worse because your disease was progressing.
Believe it or not, it wasn't. And in the beginning, it wasn't. I picked up weed, and I was like, okay, I'm just smoking weed. And then like 6 months later, I'm like, okay, just a little bit of alcohol. And then it was like 6 months after that, I had teeth work done. And I got a prescription for Vicodin. And I was like, off
was
and
it.
running, and that was it. And that was all it took. So it took about a year for my disease to fully get back to
slow
where I
and
was.
sneaky.
So actually, you had kind of a slow relapse. Everything else you did quick, but this you did. So you actually thought that you could do these other things socially.
Right. I try to control it.
Yeah.
I wanted to control it because if I could
Like a
control
novel person?
Yeah,
Right.
like these half a glass of wine people.
Yeah,
You know, I'm not one of
absolutely.
those, and I tried to be one of those. So like, as long as I kept up front that, and I remember calling my mother. I'm like, Mom, I'm not an addict. I can use in safety, and she's like, okay.
Right.
And she loved me right where I was at. She's like, okay, let me know how that works for you.
Yeah.
And 4 years later, when I'm homeless and I'm like knocking on her door, being like, can I come home? Like, is it okay? No, it was slow. It was a slow, because my disease wants me dead, period. And it doesn't care if it takes me quickly or slowly. And it gets actually more joy out of taking me slowly and painfully until I lose everything.
Now, when you got to your peak of a drug, what ended up being your drug of choice?
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
Cocaine was my drug. I loved being up and awake and active, and I suffer from ADD. And if you can't tell, I talk really fast, but I suffer from ADD.
We do a lot of that in this show too.
Yeah.
I'm in slow motion. Everybody
I
else
was like, you know, and so I thought that like cocaine like cured me, and it did for a while. It kept me slow until like, you know, it turned on me. It was my best friend. It was, but I loved cocaine and whiskey. It was my thing. I loved
It's amazing
to do
how
it.
the drug turns on you after
I
a while.
know.
Like, the disease
It's
lies to you and
sad.
says that it's like your best friend. It's going to be there for you no matter what, even when everyone else says, get out,
Yep.
you know, they don't understand you. Like, that's the lies that, like, a disease tells us.
Right.
So that we can keep using. But then it turns on us, and we end up, you know, homeless, penniless, hopeless.
Empty, soulless. I
Yeah.
was soulless, homeless. I mean, it came down to the point where I was in the store and I had $20 to my name and shoes in my hand for my godson. And I looked at his mother like, we can get high with this. And she's like, well, it's summertime. He doesn't need shoes. And like, that's the reality of the disease. Like, it didn't matter that the kid needed shoes at 18 months old. We got high.
Yeah.
And like, that was what it took me. And it
Remembering
say
stuff
that-
like that is
Yeah.
tools that we can use today.
Okay, so there's the dark days. Now, 14 months ago, what happened?
I finally surrendered, and it was amazing. And I went to a 12-step fellowship, and I put my hand up, and for the first time, I loved myself. And
Did
was
you
like,
go into a recovery place or no?
No.
You didn't?
I didn't. And
Good for you.
You know what? The pain was great enough, and I didn't want to get high anymore. And I knew that Liz's way didn't work. I knew that going to rehab only helped me for so long, and unless I was willing to do the work of like the aftercare programs that you go, because like I'm for detox, like people who need detox and rehabs, like you need those. Like I needed to go through those 2 years of being taken away from my family to get the seed to be planted, and today I'm like, oof. I love it. My life is like unimaginably amazing today. Yeah, it has its ups and downs. Don't get me wrong. Life on life's terms is horrible sometimes, but it's an amazing experience because I get to be there for it. Like I'm not numb to any of this stuff. So 14 months ago, I came into a 12-step program and shaken 115 tiny pounds, holes in my clothes. I was probably smelly and didn't look really cute or anything. And I was like drained of every bit of anything I had. And I just put my hand up and I was like, can somebody please help me save my life? And like, that was it. And like, for the first time, I thought I was gonna be okay. And like, I had no car, I had no job, I had no home. And like, people took me in and they hugged me and they loved me and they taught me how to love myself again. And like, this process has been amazing. Colleen was like the first woman, like one of the first women, and like forever I will be thankful for that. And then when she came up to me, she's like, you're gonna be okay. I'm like, what? I'm gonna be okay. She's like, just come with me. Like, let me show you. And I was like, all right. I like, you know, in active addiction, I wanted to be this leader and this big God complex that I had. And, you know, sometimes it pokes its head up every once in a while. But I follow people now because like she's done it before me, and there are other women who have done it before me, and there are other men who've done it before me, and I show up, and today I have a job, and well, not currently right now, but I have a job. I was employable these past 14 months, and I kept a job these past 14 months. I went to school, and like I'm a certified EMT, and like I'm not licensed, but like I did these things, and I have a car that's in my name, and I pay bills, and
I bet it's registered.
In my
legal,
name.
Insured. I bet there's gas in it.
there is gas, and it is insured for the first time ever. I have an insured vehicle, and I live in New Hampshire because like you don't need that, but like Like I have 4 good tires in the car, and like I get its oil changed. I show up to life. My family, oh my gosh, my sister and I never had a relationship ever because my disease took me from her.
Now your sister older, younger?
Older. She's 22 months older than me.
Okay. She ever have a problem?
Yeah. She's not me. She's not one of us. She dibbled and dabbled, but then like something clicked and she grew out of it.
Okay.
She enabled our addiction.
A lot of people do.
Right.
Yeah.
Go
and
out.
I didn't understand it. Like we'd get the same bag of marijuana, and like she'd keep it for 3 months. I'm like, what are you? That thing is stale. Right. Like, let me get you a fresh one. And like, I don't want to charge you more for it because like, I did that, and like I hurt these people, and like I've made amends. Like my father is in my life today. I'm welcomed in his home. Like he had just left me at his lake house for 10 days while he went to Aruba, and I was like, whoa, like I'm allowed in your home alone? And he's like, yeah, I trust you.
You're able to earn that trust back that you probably thought was gone forever.
Forever.
Yeah, you kind of enjoyed that part of it too, I think, didn't you?
Getting the trust back? Yeah, I wasn't welcome in his house at one point. Now my keys are over there and the key to his house is on there. I never thought that would happen.
We go away on vacation, she comes over, takes care of the dog and so forth like that.
Yeah, see, so. I never, like my family didn't know how to deal with me, didn't know how to cope with me. My father also enabled my using at one point. He was just like,
because I didn't know any better.
I don't know, you're gonna get high anyways. Like I don't know what else to do. So like let you do it in the safety of my home. And then that became a problem. And he's like, kid, you're out of your mind. I'm paying still for your stay when you were a kid. Like wake up. And he just let me go, because when you love someone and like you can't help them, you just gotta let them go.
Fathers are the worst.
I love him.
They are the worst.
He's my hero, believe it or not, like today, because like the lies I was told that he hated me and he didn't love me when I was a kid went away when I was able to get clean and come to and realize that like all he ever wanted was to help me. Same with my mother and her like addiction. Her and I are best friends today. She lets me live in her house today and like doesn't care. You know what I mean? She's like always there for me, have my back. My sister and I just moved her across the street from where I live. I'm over there every morning almost having coffee. Wow. You know what I mean? For the first week or two, and then they're like, "Hey Liz, like you need to go. we want to have some time alone." But like she calls me for help and I'm there, and like I'm like my godchildren are in my life today. Like iffy-washy because they're still in active addiction, but like I had to pick them up and take them alone. Be available. I buy him shoes. That's my way I make a living in amends. I buy like kids shoes every birthday and holiday so he gets them. You know what I mean? And I know he's okay. And like, it's just unbelievable.
I need to tell you, like I was at like that meeting, that first meeting that she came in, and I just remember like seeing you and just like your eyes and just like everything like to say broken is like putting it mildly. And I remember, because I remember feeling like that. And the gift of desperation, that truly is a gift, and willing to go to any lengths to like stay clean. Like I am so proud of you for like coming in and staying, because you know how many, I mean, you know, like people come in and it's like, please stay, please stay, please stay. Right. And they don't, and they're gone. And some of them are really gone, like they're not here anymore. So like, good for you, man. You know what I mean? Like I can't tell you how proud I am of you for like staying, and not just staying clean, but like doing the work. Like you're not just clean, you're in recovery. You know, like you have like recovery like in here, and nobody can take that, because I know you, like you hold on to your seat. Like I've heard you say it in many meetings. Like I hold on to my seat. You know, would you say you've paid years of your life to be able to have that seat, and now you sponsor women and you help women, and now they're following you because you have something that they want. You know what I mean? Like we have that thing in here that people want because we do the work. Right. You know? And like all I had to do was show up and ask for help. And like that ego that I had, that like facade in my mind that like I thought like I could do this alone, you know, I can't do any of this alone. Like I need other people. Well, see, and that's why I'm glad both of you distinguished the difference between clean and recovery. Because I run a support group for the families. And most of them, they don't talk recovery. They talk clean. Yeah. Or he's doing pretty good. Or he's not doing bad. Or he's just, you know what I'm getting at? They, you know, parents, probably even more so than you guys, have to learn about recovery also. Yeah. Because, yeah, I mean, when she was on methadone, I thought she was clean. She'd come home, she'd drink a 6-pack of Twisted Tea. Yeah. And I'd look at her, and I'd be so proud. I'd say, Fran, come down, look. Carly's drinking a 6-pack of Twisted Tea, but she's not using heroin. In like a half hour. Yeah, I'm so proud. Yeah, I'm so proud. But yeah, I mean, because she did have long terms of clean time. But, but the last 5+ years has been recovery, and that's the difference. If people are watching and they don't know, you know, the the lingo like clean and recovery. Clean is not having any substances in your system.
Right.
Recovery is not having any substances in your system and having a sponsor, going to meetings, having a God of your understanding, doing step work, helping others.
And knowing it's
and
forever.
changing on the inside.
Right.
Yeah.
It's forever. There's no in 5 years I'm going to be okay and I can do this.
Right.
It doesn't
go
work
away.
that way.
It doesn't.
No, it's a lifelong process.
And people who are successful and continue to be successful and work it forever, like your mom's doing, everything like that.
Right.
They get it, and it's hard because I can remember so many parents say, "Oh, it's been clean for a year." I can remember she was clean for 15 months. I'd go to my support groups. I said, "I'm all set. She's fine. She's cured. She's cured."
That's cute.
I learned a lot in the last few years, but it's something that parents are notorious for.
Yeah. Well, it's just lack of information, and that's
Yeah.
why the show is like so important because they can hear it like right from us, like we lived it, we're living it like today, and you have been through like some stuff in the past 14 months, over 14 months, and you didn't use over any of it. And recovery's fun.
It is fun.
We have a lot of fun.
We
you
do
know,
a lot
like
of things
being
I
in
never thought
recovery.
I would do, and I experienced like recovery has given me a life, and like you talk about like doing it and like recovery and clean time. Like never have we seen an addict fail who thoroughly followed our path. The path I walk is very simple. It may not be easy at all times, but it's a simple path, and you're never cured from this.
No.
It's going to be with me. It shows up in shoes now, in scratch tickets, and it shows up in other areas, but I just don't get high. Like I've buried people. I've lost friends to this disease in this past 14 months. Like I've buried loved ones, family members, and I didn't have to use over it. Like I learned how to live life without using drugs. And like that's a phenomenal, like who would have thought that this addict, like this low-life cokehead addict, drug dealer, like all bottom of the barrel, homeless person could come from that and like be here today. You know
And you
what
got
I mean?
it young, so
I
you don't
did.
have to suffer for decades before you get this thing.
Yeah.
Like you were able to,
Surrender. You
Yeah.
know, surrender means to join the winning side. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing to surrender.
But Colleen's right, because there aren't a lot of addicts that get it at as young an age as you do. They may get clean for a couple of years at a younger age and then think they're cured or whatever.
Right.
But to get it like you're speaking about it now at your age, it's very impressive. I mean, when you were her age, it was the farthest thing from your mind.
I was just getting going on my
you
drug
just
of choice.
cranking it up, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
So I still had a lot of pain, a lot of lessons, a lot of everything, but I didn't know about, I heard of like meetings and stuff, but I had absolutely no interest in that because I didn't think I needed it.
Right.
I thought if I got a job, I went to the gym, I went tanning, definitely got in a relationship, I'd be fine. But again, that's like outside stuff.
Right.
And you said it a couple times, like we have to change on the inside our feelings. I don't know about you, but I used over my feelings. I didn't like how I felt, so I used to change it. But it didn't change it. It just like stuffed all that stuff down. Like the feelings, we don't like how we feel, so we want to like change it instead of like feeling them and letting them go and moving on to like the next thing.
See, and as a parent, we always still have that. I can fix it. So when she,
Right.
Over the last 5 years, she hit some pretty tough bumps in the road, and I'd get nervous. I said, "Oh my God, is this gonna? What should I?" Well, at the time, she had a sponsor who I could call up. What a pain in the ass I was to her. I used to call her up all the time, and she'd settle me down, and she'd tell, unfortunately she's no longer with us, but she'd settle me down, so that I wouldn't put any more. She's going through maybe a relationship that went bad, or a car that wasn't worth what, or she's trying to help someone that don't want help. And by me adding on to that, it wasn't making, so her sponsor would kind of just say, I'm keeping an eye on her, back off, leave her alone, she's doing all the right things.
And I had no problem with that, with him talking
As a
to
matter
Joy.
of fact, she used to tell me, call my sponsor.
Yeah.
See, I love that. I love my sponsor, and like we have our ups and downs, and we butt our heads sometimes. But like, she truly does love me, and like without her, like I wouldn't know how to be a woman. Like I wouldn't know how to act the way I'm acting. Like she's paved the way. Colleen's paved the way. Like I can name off a ton of women right now who have paved the way. Like
But
to
the
teach
sponsor
me.
is always
But the sponsor is key. That one person person, that
Yeah.
one other addict who can understand everything I've ever been through. Like I owe this woman my life.
Yeah, and
because she gave me one.
Yeah.
And I know, like, sure, that's why when her sponsor took her life, I probably panicked more than her. But she was smart. I mean, she went through the process and so forth. Then she went out and she got another Cracker Jack sponsor who I absolutely love to death too, you know,
Yeah.
Right.
who I can also call.
It's good. My parents both know my sponsors too.
Yeah,
They have
and-
their
and-
number. It's like,
And you want to, I don't think it's a bad thing
I don't.
because the more that the parent learns,
right.
the better it is for us, which is the better it is for you guys too. Oh my, I hate, you know, every now and then we get these fingers, it means we got 3 minutes left. Can you just kind of wrap up in a minute of what you feel like right now?
But I feel high. Like I have a natural high right now. Like my fingers are tingling and
They really exist, don't they?
it really
Natural
exists.
highs.
Like a natural high exists. Like I'm forever grateful for this program. I'm forever grateful that I met your daughter. Like she's a phenomenal woman, and like I'm grateful that I have a life today, and that I'm not just existing amongst the zombies anymore, and that I'm not like existing amongst a world where you know I belong today. I believe that like I have a purpose, that like I survived so I could help somebody else, and that's what I keep doing.
When you come on the show, you are, and because I don't know if we've ever had a guest that has been so excitable as you are coming on here. I mean, and I'm thrilled.
It's gratitude.
Because,
It's a lot of
yeah, I mean,
gratitude.
I'm grateful.
I mean, we've had people come on in recovery that were very grateful and everything, but I've never seen anybody express it with so much enthusiasm as you. So we thank you for you showing people that recovery
puts life into you.
Yeah, it can be fun. You got a few things you want to say to wrap up? You got 30
Just
seconds.
that I feel the same way, and I just want to say it again. Like I love you to death, and I'm just so proud of you for going into that meeting and raising your hand and asking for help and surrendering to your disease, because that's why you're sitting here full of life and you got your soul back. And keep holding on to your seat.
I will. I love you.
Thank you for coming. You know, folks, I want you to understand that these people that come in for recovery, they're exposing themselves, telling you about their life, which wasn't so nice, and what they've accomplished. And they're doing this just to help other addicts. So I appreciate it. I'm proud of you. And I just met you today, and I feel like I've known you for a long time. So that being said, we're going to say goodnight. I really enjoyed doing this episode. I've never felt such a positive one that we've had.
Thank you.
I know they won't all be like that.
That's okay.
But for the Empty Chair Show, we're going to say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
See you next month.